What's up, everybody? Welcome back out to the shop. Kind of getting towards the end of the Mustang here, but we've had the opportunity to put some miles on it, and basically we're starting to find some of the more I don't know, troublesome, bothersome, irritating small things about it. You know, just insignificant things that piss you off. For one, we're starting to have an idle problem, so we're going to go over how to fix that. And it's a Mustang. Mustangs are made to go fast. They're not luxury cars. They're definitely not well-built cars. So this one's got some interior rattles. We're going to look into that real quick. We're going to see what we can do about helping that out. So stay tuned. Okay, so we zeroed in on one of the places giving us a rattle, and it was from the gear shift bezel. This goes around the stick and has the 12-volt power point in it, and what seems to be the problem here, I'll show in a minute, is inside the car. A couple quick things if you're going to attempt this yourself. This comes off, it's just held on with clips. There's no screws, but one thing to note, there is a clip back here in this back edge of it, and that's towards the parking brake, so you'll want to lift this guy out and then swivel it out. The shifter ball just unscrews, and then you work the boot up off as you pull it out. And you know, luckily for us, no broken clips, no broken catches. Even the little leather boot thing still seems to be pretty good. So alright, so let's take a look inside the car and we'll see what's going on here with the actual source of the rattle. Okay, so we're inside the car here, and we got our shifter exposed. So this right here, where the bezel attaches with the clips, seems to be the major offender. I'm betting that's where we're getting the rattling, and down here is we got some dirt and stuff. So believe it or not, that can actually cause plastics to creak and groan and do other funny things. So we'll get that cleaned up, and what we're going to try here is we're going to try some double-sided foam tape to see if that takes care of the racket. So get over to the workbench and we'll see what we've got to do that with. Okay, so here's what we're going to try and use on this. It is 3M mounting tape. I got this at, I think, Walmart, and basically it's actually a double-sided tape. But what we're going to try and use it for is something different. We're going to actually leave this side on so that we don't physically glue the two parts together. We're more interested in it holding itself on one side and cushioning the stuff on the other. So probably going to have to do a little bit of cutting and trimming to make this work out. But let's see what we can do with it and see if we can make that part stop rattling. Probably going to want to keep this in between the clip holes here. So we might have to do a little trimming. We do trim about half of it off. There we go. Trim it to fit. There we go. That hugs that plastic pretty decent. All right. Ooh, that one's a little trickier. It's got a divot in it. We'll just hook it a little bit like that. And that actually feels like it's going to fit pretty nicely. Okay. Now, some simple spray away glass cleaner with a red shop rag. Ooh, rambunctious. Foamy. Oh, that one may have to be redone. We'll hang on to it for now. See if we can get this cleaned up a bit. On there for years. Nasty, nasty. Okay. All right, so now the idea here is, hopefully, what will happen is our shifter bezel will hold the we'll hold these in place. Plug our power point back in. Make sure we're there. Still has some creakiness to it, but it's better than it was. We'll see how it does. And the shifter ball simply screws back on. Now the good thing about this is on a Ford shifter, it's bolted nice and firm. So once you get down to the end, which takes a while because it's a long-winded knob. So we'll get down there and then there we go. I have a feeling that the real problem is up here, but next time we drive the car, we'll find out for sure. So this one will be the first rattle fix we do in this car. So on to the next problem. Now the next thing we've noticed that's, insignificant thing that pisses us off is the idle acts funny when this car gets hot. You'll come to a stop, you'll have the clutch in, it'll kind of rum, 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 rum. It'll hunt for an idle, it'll roll for an idle. Sometimes it'll rev way up to 2,500 RPM, sometimes it'll nearly die. This is a sign of impending doom. It's usually the idle air control motor. Now, what we're going to do on this one, I'm going to show how to properly clean one of these. Sometimes cleaning them fixes them, sometimes it doesn't. But one thing you can rest assured of is if you clean it and it works right for a while and then it goes back to working bad, you know the problem is the idle air control motor and you know what to replace. Okay, so the first thing we've got here, we've got a connector, we've got our air feed, and then two 8mm bolts, I believe. They are. Okay, perfect. So we'll start by removing our wiring connector and setting it out of the way. Then the air feed will come off. Set it out of the way. And we might have to move the PCV line. We'll see. It's definitely looking like it, which is no problem. It also pries right off. This one's fairly new too, so let's set that up there like that. Okay. I like to get the bottom one out first because that's the one I tend to drop more than anything. So, I'll get it out a little bit. And then reach in there. And we'll grab this baby. It's about to come off any second. There it is. Okay. We'll set that over to the side a bit. Get this top one undone. Usually you have to worry about the gasket on these a little bit. If you're gentle with them, they'll stay attached to the throttle plenum and you won't rip them. The good part is they're only covering air, so if you have to, you can always make one or, get one at the parts store. Pretty simple. This one's still in great shape. So, all right, we got our part off. let's go see what we can do about cleaning this up. Okay, let's see what we can see inside of this thing. Put my flashlight around here. Not real easy to see inside of it, but it does have some nastiness. So we're gonna try and look in the air bleed side. Yeah, hard to see on camera, but it's pretty nasty inside. Okay, so we've got ourselves a pan here on the floor. We can kind of see what comes out of it. We got a nice clean pan, and we've got our Super Tech badass Walmart carburetor intake cleaner. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna get this thing all set up to go. And the secret here, these, I like to hold them by the motor end, and then I will spray inside, pour them out. We're getting some gunk out of it, but the point is anytime we spray, we want to make sure that we don't let this into the motor. It's not sealed, so if you tip it the other way, if you invert it and let the fluid run into the motor, it for sure will be bad. So, oh yeah, that had some ugliness in it. There, I'm keeping it in a fashion so it'll go away from the motor, but it'll go through the air bleed and into what's nasty in here. And that came out of the motor side, or came out of the air bleed side, excuse me. So there we go. What we'll do is we'll put that on the dry side. We'll let that just air dry for a bit, and we'll come back to it. Okay, so we've gotten this thing cleaned up pretty good. You can kind of see it there. It was all completely black before and pretty crusty. It's still got a little bit of black stuff in it, but this side is the important side. I'm going to see if I can get that. There you go. You can see the actuator valve in there, nice and shiny and bright and clean, and everything else. That was also completely covered in fuzz, so we're going to hope that this solves our idle problem, and we're going to see if that takes care of it. So let's put it back in. We'll do the top bolt first. That way it'll hold itself in position for us while we get the other one in there. On a Ford, if the idle air control valve fails completely, it will not start at all. It will sit there and spin and spin and spin and spin, and you have to give it gas to make it start. So if we damage this one, we'll know. So let's see here. Oh, cranked right up. Cold idle seems pretty darn good. So, as with our shifter bezel rattle fix, we won't know on this one for a little while, so we'll have to go put some more miles on it and see if we're going to have to attack this with a new part or if we're, out of the woods. These things are fairly expensive. They're between 60 and 80 bucks for a new one, so cleaning it is definitely a great first place to start. So that's all for now. We'll catch you later, and we'll see if this works out.